How is it going, you lovely lot? Welcome back to Park to Prem. It's another transfer special for your viewing pleasure. Yesterday, we splashed the cash. Today, there is still money to spend. Really, though, the priority is probably going to be selling players. Of course, last episode, we confirmed the signing of two West Ham centre-backs, two players not playing regularly for West Ham, it has to be said. Despite the fact they were relegated, I feel like these two guys are good enough. I feel like they've been overlooked. West Ham underperformed. We're going to get a song out of them. I spent £70 million on the combined duo, though. Henderson and Dorrington do fit into our team quite nicely in the centre-back area, but in terms of first-team transfers, they are the only additions confirmed so far. Although saying that, of course, we have got Nicky Meredith potentially joining us from Everton. That is a deal worth £31 million, £15 million of that paid up front. Does mean we're going to have over £20 million still to spend today. Maybe we'll do some Wonder Kids hunting. Today is episode number 37 of Park to Prem. We have a first team of 28 players. That is far too many. Let's run the intro and get down to business, shall we? Now, as noted at the end of last episode, there are a few of our players attracting interest. Annoyingly, it's not really players I necessarily want to sell. Joe McHugh is having some interest. Fortunately, it is loans, and, well, he's unavailable for loan. So you know what? We'll make him unavailable for loan to kick things off today. This youngster, I really want to give some game time to on off the bench. And in terms of the other players attracting interest, it's Marcus Sheldon, who's just signed a 5-year deal to the club on £50,000 a week. I say 5-year deal, it's actually 4 years. It was 4.5 years. We'll round it up, even though time has now passed. He has an optional contract extension of 3 years, though, so naturally, he won't be going anywhere. And the only other player attracting some interest is Will Lancashire. We signed him for £20 million. Apparently, Everton are interested. It's going to cost them more than $20 million if they want him. I've never used the unwanted list in Football Manager, have you? I feel like I might need to try using that because we have had an ongoing issue trying to sell players. I think some of that is down to our low club reputation and to players' values been a bit on the higher side. I look at players like Christopher Alozzi and think, probably should be cashing in on you. I'm going to add him to the unwanted list and select sell for value and just see if it works, really, I guess. Apparently, intermediaries say there's no interest, and as for agent market interest, yeah, no one wants Christopher Alozzi. There's a few other players that I think I'm going to have to add to this list. It pains me to say it. I think Burgess potentially has to go. The 22-year-old just isn't good enough, is he? We signed him for £500,000 in League One as one for the future. We rose up the ranks quicker than I expected we would. Gave him a handful of games last year in the Premier League. He just wasn't good enough. Annoyingly, I have already checked. There's a limited interest in him, although there's interest in him. 2.3 to 2.9 million. His value is 8 million. I don't want to be scammed. Like I said, I've never used the unwanted list before. I feel like desperate times call for desperate measures. We'll add him there. I am willing to test the waters with Amari Hutchinson. I feel like his time as a first-team player for us probably has come and gone at this point. You can see I've already offered him out for transfer. Still waiting for any bids to come in. We'll add him to the unwanted list. I've selected here kind of sell for value. I don't know if we're going to get the kind of money I'm hoping to get. Maybe I should lower it slightly. What I'm wondering, though, here is if the bids come in, does the director of football just accept them, or do I have the ability to negotiate? Like I said, this is an aspect of the game I just never touch, but why not try it today because I'm desperate? There are some players in my under-21s I need to give some attention to. Shea Salmon is one of them. He had a really good loan spell last year at Leyton Orient. He's been playing as the goalkeeper for the England under-21s. Great little shot stopper. He is not ready for Premier League football yet. He could one day be, though. I feel like this club's goalkeeping option. I feel like a loan move this year is the order of the day. Last year, he was playing in League One. I'd love him to get regular football in the Championship. Axel Durant is coming back to the club off the back of a pretty good loan spell in League One at Lincoln, but I don't think he's as good as everyone else seems to think he is. I'm looking at that value thinking that would be really good money to get for this guy. He came through our academy. He's been a solid player and he will be a good player. That there is no doubt, but I'm not sure he's going to be a top half Premier League footballer. That's kind of what we're looking for now in our players. According to intermediaries, there could be some interest, 4.6 to 4.9 million, and the intermediary wants half the money. So being realistic, I'd probably get £4 million for him. I mean, that is way below his valuation, but truthfully, I think there's a few players in our team that do just have values too high. I'm going to offer him out for 10 million and just see if we get any nibbles, I think. I could loan him out again. I don't think it's worth it. Rudy Shirtliff is an interesting one because I'm a bit concerned he's reached his potential already. He hasn't improved since he joined the club. He went out on loan last year to Burnley initially, then on loan to Blackburn. Neither team really played him as much as I was hoping they would do. When he played for Blackburn, he played quite well. I mean, I could keep him around as a squad player this year. I do look at his physicals and his determination. Maybe he's just a useful first-team asset to have around. James Wiles we loaned out last year. I feel like he needs another loan spell. 20 years old, still got some great potential. He was on loan in League One. He could be great for us. He could definitely feature in the first team if he continues to improve. I'd love to get him a move in the Championship. We'll see if we can make that happen. And Sav Bamford here is a player with a load of potential that I'm not convinced he's really going to achieve it, if I'm being honest. I'm looking at the fact he's inconsistent. I'm looking at the fact that he struggled in League One last year. I'm going to try and cash in on him, I think. We'll make him unavailable for loan. He's valued at 9 to 11 million pounds. I'm going to offer him out for 7.5 and just see what happens. And another player I've not even really thought about who is still here is Oliver Johnson. Yeah, probably need to sell him too. He had a loan spell last year at Hearts. It's time to try and cash in a bit of money. We signed him for 6 million. If we could get anywhere from 8 to 10 million, I feel like that would be a win. Beresford as well. Youngster, came for our academy. Might have some potential. I don't think he's going to achieve it. I feel like, you know, cash in on these players whilst we can. I'll be honest, I think I've just lost count of all the players we've offered out. I'm hoping at least a few of them get offers. Otherwise, it could be a long episode today. I mean, I'll probably edit it down for you guys, but it'll be a long episode for me just trying to get rid of players. I mean, I've had an offer for a player. It's my third choice goalkeeper in Harry Evans, who I quite like as the third choice goalkeeper. He's contracted for 2 more years. He's on £2,000. He's just not worth selling, is he? Everton have made a bid here. It's literally pennies. Evans wants to discuss why I've rejected his contract. Do you want to sign a new deal? He doesn't want to. You're here for 2 years, mate. Get used to it. He can stay as the backup, but then one day Shea Salmon will come back from loan. He will leap like a salmon into the first team, and Anson can be the sub-goalie. That's the plan for the year. Well, not this year. One of the years in the future. Amari Hutchinson feels like he's being forced out of the club. As I'm responsible for selling the player, I want to know if I should speak with him or if you'd like to deal with the situation. You know what, Ed? Director of Football Ed, you can deal with it. Ed, you chat with him. I've never done that before. Do you mean I could just send my Director of Football to chat with all the players? How many minutes, hours have I missed and wasted in Football Manager having to deal with these petulant children over the years? Ollie Johnson wants to know why I'm trying to sell him. Bad news, mate. You're just not good enough, and you do look a bit dodgy. I have so many options in your position. Let me fight for my place. Mate, my mind's made up. He's not willing to back down. I mean, what are you going to do? Cry about it and just not leave? I'm trying to sell you, mate. I want you gone. Transfer list him. Get him out my sight. No offers for 5 players. I've had one offer, well, one set of offers, all for the same man, James Wiles. This guy's going to be a great centre-back. Needs to learn to jump. We'll get him on a trampoline. Good news, there's Championship offers here. Bad news, with the exception of Reading, none of them want to make him a regular starter. I think that makes Reading the best loan move for him. The rest of the options are just squad player. I want him playing as much as possible. And the other teams that are offering him first team football play in League One. Nicky Meredith set to sign for the club. Do I want to confirm this transfer? I think I do. He was in on loan last year. He was actually, I think, our 3rd top goal scorer with 8 goals. Signing him on a permanent basis, giving him more football. We play with 3 strikers. Nicky, welcome back to the club. He's an England international, I'll have you know. Also, this is a weird timeline. Russell Martin has become Chelsea manager. They nearly got relegated last year. They could get relegated this year. Nicky Meredith officially joined us, by the way. 21 years old. My staff still think he's got loads of potential. I'm going to hope that they're right. Really like the look of him. What I will say is the first team is only really getting bigger and bigger at the moment. So, I really need some offers on players. The squad is unhappy with my treatment of Oliver Johnson. Brennan, what are you doing crying? The reason I'm selling him is because you exist. Why am I trying to force him out of the club? It doesn't seem fair. Life's not fair, mate. I don't think he's good enough. Look, that was productive. Go away, you two. Why am I trying to sell Ollie Johnson? Well, it might come down to the fact that if I just highlight the strikers in the team, there's 8 of them competing for not many spots. And of the options, he's arguably the worst. I mean, good news, Sheffield Wednesday are interested. Bad news, they've not yet made a bid. No offers for Ollie Johnson. Oxford are prepared to pay 5 million. I bought him for 6 million. It will be a loss. It will hurt my ego. But I just need to get rid of players now. Money's not so much of a factor. Okay, finally we have a bid. 5 million for Ollie Johnson. He'll become unsettled if he's not allowed to talk to them. We're getting money back for him. I'll be honest, it's just one of those transfers that never really worked out. 0 goals in 23 Premier League games. Loaned him out hoping to increase the interest. The increase in interest hasn't happened, and there's just too many other strikers competing for the same spots. The board don't want to sell him. The board are saying they want a minimum of 5.75 million. Look, please just let me sell him. Just reconsider. The board appreciates your comments. After discussing things, we're pleased to announce we agree with you. Oh my. Imagine if the board had cancelled that sale. I would actually start screaming. Trading facilities have been upgraded. More mention of this mortgage loan that we took. I feel like the mortgage loan was for both the youth and trading facilities. Either way, I hate the fact we've had to spend loads of money on it, apparently. What I don't hate, though, is the fact our training facilities are now at 4-star. Can we get a new? Woo! I wanted to ask for them to be improved instantly. The game won't let me. Right now, we are exceeding our wage budget, which is a minor concern. Obviously, if we sell some players, less of an issue. I'm hoping maybe at some point the board will let me increase the wages, but they're not letting me do it yet. RB Leipzig, I've just bought Lewis Meek. Oh my word, we get a sell-on for that. We sold him for 375k. He's gone to Leipzig for 2 million. I mean, maybe he's quite good. He came from our youth academy, bit concerned about his injury proneness. What's the sell-on that we get? How much do we get? We get £75,000. Oh, wait, no, hold. Hold 30% of profit. Oh, 375, that's a bit more acceptable. You know what, that's all right. No one wants to sign Axel Durand. This guy could be good, but I don't think he's going to be good for us. Wrexham are prepared to pay 800k. Dundee will pay 825. I mean, maybe the valuation that he's got is just silly, is now what I'm wondering. The intermediaries are saying 4.4 to 5.25 million. You know what, Marco Belic, I might just take him up on that. This guy could be better down the line, Axel Durand, but he just doesn't fit my system. I don't like his lack of mentals. And I just don't think he's good enough for us. Okay, we've had some offers made. They are very installment heavy, I'm afraid to say. Werder Bremen and Espanyol have made bids. Werder Bremen is worth more, but it's more conditional on clauses. This is a guaranteed 5.2 million. The Espanyol deal is a guaranteed 4.8 million. But it could be worth more down the line if he plays 20 games for Espanyol. 30% profit of sell-on. Was there a profit sell-on here? There is 20%. Which deal do I take? I feel like I'm going to take... I might just accept both and just hope that he goes to one of them. I actually don't think there's a massive difference between these offers. And actually, it's less for me about the money and more about just getting rid of some of these players that they're never going to make my first team. James Wiles, by the way, very good centre-back prospect for the future, going on loan to Reading. He has slowly worked his way up the Football League. League 2 2 years ago, League 1 last year. This year, hopefully some regular football in the Championship. I'll be honest, having had that intermediary sale of Durand, I'm now sat thinking maybe I should be using an intermediary for some of these other bids and just accepting that for someone like James Burgess, I'm not getting 8 million. Like, that is just not happening. There is no interest at that level. Maybe there's some interest at a lower level. 2.6 to 3 million. I mean, I might as well click confirm and see what the offer is, I suppose. Burgess isn't a bad player, but he's just not got the potential to be good enough for our first team. I'm wondering if I should just do the same for Christopher Alozzi. Is there any interest? There is. 2.6 million. I feel like he's not even worth selling at that price. At that price, I'd just probably be better off loaning him out. Jobe Bellingham is a weird player, because in the pecking order of defensive midfielders, he is now... well, the 5th player down in this list, really. And when I look at some of the players behind him, there's youngsters, and there's also players I'd argue are just better for what we need from that kind of player in the team. He's valued at 7.8 to 8.6 million. Last year, he made 4 appearances for me. I mean, I wonder if there's any interest there. Intermediaries say there's no interest. I could just offer him out, I guess, and just see what offers we might get. Already, by the way, over a week into this kind of pre-season episode, in terms of when our actual season starts, it starts in just over a month. Swansea's at first game of the year. It's on the 10th of August. It's the 9th of July right now. Celta Vigo made an offer for James Burgess, 2.2 million up front, another 600k in instalments, 20% sell-on. They do want me to pay some of his wages, but I'll be honest, I'm kind of happy to take the money and run. It's a guaranteed 3.4 million. We signed him for £500,000. Yeah, he's never going to play for us, is he? If you're wondering, Erling Haaland is still available as a free transfer. He got released at the end of last video. Right now, Atletico, Liverpool, Barcelona and Chelsea have made offers. I kind of hope he ends up not playing in the Premier League. That really would help me out long term. And because I know someone will ask, no, he doesn't want to sign for me. Obviously. Well, I had a plan to try and sell Joe Bellingham. He's out for 2 to 3 months, so he will not be going before the transfer window slams shut because he's not going to pass any fitness tests. That's really annoying. A player who lacks a little bit in the physicals anyway. Missing that kind of football's never a good thing. West Brom have also made an offer for Oliver Johnson here. It's another £5 million bid. It matches Oxford's. We'll just accept it. Increases the likelihood of us being able to move him on. And unsurprisingly, no clubs consider a deal for Joe Bellingham viable due to his injury. I offered him out and he got injured. I don't think that was coincidence. I think someone did a hit job there. Cole Palmer is transfer listed after being relegated with West Ham. I'll be honest, this guy is going to get one of the craziest upgrades between Football Manager versions. He's just awful in FM24. You look at his record here in this save game. After he joined Chelsea, he scored how many goals? Not many goals. Very few goals. 21 million West Ham paid. I'll tell you what, Chelsea absolutely scammed them. Swansea have also made an offer for Ollie Johnson. I'm going to reject this one because they're playing in the Premier League next year and I don't want him to score against me. And another sale that has just been confirmed, Burgess heading to Celta Vigo. Subject to conditions, could rise to 3.5 million. But a bit sad to see him go, but yeah, good money I feel like. And another player off the books that we just didn't need. Ajaria wants to discuss a new contract. Mate, you signed a new contract like a year ago for £30,000. What are you waffling on about? What do you want? Apparently he wants to be on £48,000 to £59,000 a week with release clauses. I mean, that's just a silly amount to ask for, isn't it? £41,000 to £50,000. I mean, if it's a £10,000 price rise, I'm like, oh, that's a bit more reasonable. But, and it's a bit of a big but, I'm already over the wage budget, aren't I? He wants a minimum release clause to clubs in the Championship. He has one in his current deal that I don't like him having, so I'm going to remove it here. I'll increase the loyalty bonus and increase the agent fee, and I'll up the unused sub fee. If we get relegated, he can go for 20 million. We're not going to get relegated. I feel pretty comfortable about that now. A few years ago, less so. He's accepted that offer. I mean, on the one hand, it's annoying giving him more money, but he is just one of our best homegrown at club players, and they have just a price tag that you can't really give up a price on. Talked about it last episode, but as we start getting into hopefully regular Champions League and European football, maybe not Champions League right away, homegrown at club status is going to be essential. I need him around. McHugh is continuing to make really good progress. That is what we would love to see. This guy, I say that, there's red arrows when I go on him. This guy is going to be a great little player for us down the line. Naturally a striker and centre attacking mid. Long-term future for him is definitely going to be a defensive midfielder. I feel like alongside Hatswell, who's currently playing Segundo Volante, they could be the future of this team. In terms of Hatswell, last year, of course, Gavin Gallagher played at Segundo Volante. I'm kind of coming around to the idea of giving the 19-year-old more game time this coming year. They're going to compete for this spot in the middle. Attribute-wise, I think Gallagher probably has the edge just through his crazy mentals. But if we look at the scout report here, Gallagher's probably already playing at his kind of current ability and in his potential, so he's not going to improve, whereas Hatswell could get better still. Chelsea have just confirmed the signing of Phil Foden on a free transfer, apparently rejecting an offer from Liverpool. I wonder if Haaland's going to follow him. Another sale to note down here, Ollie Johnson, £5 million. Some people are going to be relieved here because I've sold the sleep paralysis demon-faced man himself. That was one hell of a sentence to utter out. Bit sad that we made a loss on him, but yeah, he's not developed. And I hoped he would. A little bit concerned that we're not getting any loan offers for Shea Salmon. I'm going to move him back down to the under-21s. He may well end up just having to chill there for a year, which is a bit of a shame because for his development, I want him to be playing regularly. George Edmondson is a weird one. He's our club captain. He's been here forever. He's still got a 4-year contract, the 33-year-old. He played 5 games last year, 15 the year before that. He is just on a very, very rapid decline. He was a player who was quite reliant on his physicals as a defender. They're falling off now. I kind of want to move him down to the under-21s and remove him as captain. Doesn't seem like he's that bothered about it. So maybe that's good. I hope he's going to be fine when I take the armband off him. I'm currently looking at the option of maybe loaning out Christopher Alozzi. I can't sell him. I'd like to loan him out. It is really between him and Shirtliff for who I keep around. But we gave Alozzi a lot of opportunities last year and he just didn't really shine. I'd rather give Rudy a go this year. Just kind of swap things around here. And Jaria is happy with a new contract. Of course he bloody is. I was going to say I don't know why I've given him it. I do know why I've given him it. He's a player who holds the most appearances in Wanderers history, has 17 leadership. We've just demoted the current captain down to the under-21s. He is going to be our captain next year. In fact, you know what? I feel like we can just make it official now, can't we? Edmonton's going to be fine with it, I hope. We're not exactly a squad blessed with leaders, are we? I'm just looking at things here. The next most likely candidate is probably Corby Hatswell. He's 19 years old with 15 leadership. I mean, to be fair, he only has 10 vision. He's got 15s in a lot of his mentals, though. Would it be crazy to make McHugh or Hatswell the new vice captain? I think it probably wouldn't make sense. Sheldon is basically that kid in your youth football team who's a bit of a tearaway, and as a manager, I'm trying to give him some responsibility so that he behaves better. Maybe it'll stop him moving away if I give him vice-captaincy too. I will make Hatswell the stand-in, though. I feel like, you know what, in terms of stand-ins, we probably could do worse. We have still got a transfer budget of 30 million here. I've been spending so much of today selling players. I can also sign some players. Edmonton's unhappy I've stripped him as the captaincy. Mate, you're in the under-21s, you're 33, and all you used to be able to do is jump, and even that ability is failing you. Can we keep it between the two of us? Well, I want to know your reason for removing you as captaincy. Ajari makes the better captain at the moment. Fair enough, thanks. Even I feel sorry for George. Okay, another big sale being made. Durand is leaving for Espanyol. £4.9 million fee. I'm pretty happy with this. I don't think he's a bad player. I might live to regret it if he goes on to develop a ton, but we have got a 30% profit of any sell-on. So if he ends up being great, we'll get some of that money back. And, well, subject to conditions, you can see here, the offer could be worth over 6 million. Can't really argue with that. I'll tell you what, slowly but surely, the sales that we're making are adding up a little bit. Between Johnson, Durand and Burgess, like, what, £12 million, £13 million raised? We are still over the wage budget, mind you, but we're getting a little closer to breaking even. I'm still hoping that I can increase the wage budget at some point, but the board right now, not giving me that option. I've given up on the unwanted list. I gave it almost 3 weeks. Has not worked. Hutchinson's just unhappy after the chat with the director of football. I'll try and convince him that he has a role to play here, but I'll be honest, I'm not even sure if he's going to be on the bench. Okay, we have had some loan offers here for a Lozzie. Important player in the Championship from Blackburn. Squad player for both Coventry and Swansea. I would need him playing first-team football. Blackburn is the loan move to do here. And Jari has shown pleasing progress. And it turns out all I had to do to get him to train better was pay him more. That's annoying, isn't it? Interesting to know, our hot prospect to the club is actually Bernard Brennan. I really want to see this guy develop. I need to give him first-team football. I think there's going to be opportunities to do that this year. The 20-year-old is one of these players that maybe lacks a bit in the current ability department, but I'm very determined to give opportunities on off the bench. I'd kind of put players like Niall Townsend into that similar bracket. Speaking of which, with Townsend, I'm actually training him right now to play right wing back. I think that's going to be a useful string to add to his bow in order for him to get regular first-team football with us. Right now, he's natural at, obviously, centre attacking mid. Whilst we are still toying with the idea of playing that centre attacking mid system where we play on the counter at times, I do feel like we have the quality to play on the front foot more this year. Now, Carl Johan Nordin, we signed last January to be a bit of a centre-back option for us. He's 20, a little bit of a question mark over his potential. We signed him for less than £1 million as a refresher. Given the new additions at the centre-back, he's fallen down the pecking order. Going to loan him out, drum up some interest. We'll see if he improves and can maybe come in and be a useful squad player. But I do feel like a loan spell just for his development and potentially bumping up the price we can fetch for him is probably in our interest. There's some Championship teams interested here. And looking at things, it is Reading and Derby willing to make him a regular starter. Now, when it comes to Reading's current centre-backs, I've already loaned them James Wiles. I'm a bit concerned about loaning them too many players that they then might not play my players so much. So rather than loaning him to Reading as well, I think I'm going to loan him to Derby County. I think he'll tear up the Championship Norlin here, but yeah, just one too many players for the first team when it comes to centre-backs, and he's the one who has to go. Okay, the Christopher Alozzi saga is over for now. He's going on loan to Blackburn to be a regular player in the Championship. We'll see what kind of player we come back with. I mean, he's going to have 2 years left on his contract when he comes back. If he still wants to be sold, maybe we can get more from him than we would have got if we sold him now. Once Norlin leaves us, first-team squad will be 26 players. You know what? I feel better now than I did at the start of today. Remember last season when we sold a load of players to Bochum? Well, another one of our players that we sold to them has moved on. A second sell-on clause that we're receiving. John Murray, the man on the move to Schalke. I actually think Murray's not a bad little centre-back, but at 22 years old, I just had question marks over how much he'd improve. We sold him for 1.5 million. He's only moved on for 2.1 million, but yeah, keep an eye on him. He could be the kind of player that we end up signing back as a squad player down the line when I need homegrown at club players. Obviously, I hope I don't have to sign him back. Otherwise, it was probably an error to sell him in the first place. But yeah, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on him. Speaking of which, I have been looking at players that I could possibly sign, like Andy White, apparently. Yeah, there isn't any super standout players kind of within the budgets that we have. One thing I've not looked at yet is loan options. I do wonder if maybe there could be some good players to loan. I mean, I'm looking at things here. There's a Chelsea youngster and a Liverpool youngster right at the top. Jesse Thomas is the Chelsea man. He is actually a really good little player who can play right wing back, which is actually semi-useful for me. In terms of the squad depth right now at right wing back, I've got Ajaria and McConnell. Like I already mentioned, I am also training Niall Townsend to play right wing back, but I do wonder if I could maybe bring in Thomas. Would I then just loan out Townsend for the year? That could be an option. The one thing I've not acknowledged yet, the fact that Jesse here is on £69,000 a week. They want me to pay 60% of it. I don't think I can actually afford to pay anything more than that. Very generous of them. They've offered me an optional future fee of 162 million. He'd be a useful player, but those wages are pretty steep for someone who probably would be on our bench most of the year. Aaron Stevens is the other man. Doesn't really fit into my team at all, does he? He looks like a good little player, but he's just not what I need. I'm looking through the other players transfer listed here. I think the issue is when it comes to transfer listed players who are also English, the quality does maybe just drop off a little bit in terms of what's actually out there for me to sign. If I was light on strikers, Hernandez here wouldn't be a bad little loan option from Chelsea, but I'm not light on strikers, especially tall strikers. Between Meredith with 15 jumping reach and Brennan with 17 jumping reach, I think we've got that corner of the market covered. Today's been a bit of a weird transfer special. Part of me's like, I mean, we've been selling lots of players, I guess, but on the flip side, I know some people come into these episodes expecting me to sign loads of players, which, I mean, if you do at this point, you must be new around here. Would like to know, is this kind of episode interesting? You know, it's some of the squad building, trying to move on players, just kind of squad management as much as anything. Now, of course, I am looking to sign some players, but it's just all part of the process of making a squad. Finn Stevens here is transfer listed by West Ham. He's not a bad right back, but he'd be displacing Ajaria, who I've just made captain and given a new contract to. And on top of that, with Finn Stevens, he would not be cheap. I think in terms of transfer listed and unlisted options, there's not players out there. In terms of contract status expired, any new exciting players appeared? Not that I can see. I am wondering about Haaland. I've not read anything. Oh, he's gone to Barcelona. That is fantastic news. I don't have to deal with him. No idea how Barcelona have afforded his wages. Surprised they've registered him. I'm sorry to Barcelona fans watching. That was unnecessary. Okay, we have had some loan offers for Shea Salmon. Not in the Championship, sadly, but free options for, League One loans. QPR with a media prediction of second, Huddersfield with a media prediction of third, or Barnsley with a media prediction of 13th. You know what? I'm going to reject the Barnsley one, but I think Huddersfield or QPR could be a good little move. Been a while since I got updated scout reports on the national team, so I'm going to do that right now. There are players here that I'm like, oh, you could be an interesting signing. Jordan Ritson, I was having half a look at. I asked his agent. His agent said he'd be very unlikely to want to discuss terms. He's a centre-back, but to be honest, they're probably training to be a backup right wing-back option. He's got 6 caps for England, which I'm shocked by. I can only assume that he's got some decent potential for them to be giving him game time. His value is not that high with Liverpool. Would they offer let me sign him permanently? They would, but it wouldn't be cheap. I'll be honest, I'm curious as much as anything else just to see if there would be a deal to negotiate here. Liverpool want a buyback. I'm not giving you a buyback. I mean, like I said, his agent said he probably wouldn't want to discuss terms anyway, but he's an interesting option. I'm going to try and renegotiate here. I'll remove the buyback. I'll offer them 22.5 million up front. They've accepted that. Don't think he wants to talk to me anyway, but maybe I can swing him at 68 to 96,000 pounds. I mean, I talked about getting in a backup right wing back option. He can play centre back as well. He can't really jump, but I feel like in a back three, that's less important. I don't know if I like him as a signing or not. I need to make sure he's prioritised wherever he is in this list. Okay, this is weird. He's asking to be a squad player, and I put it to important player, and then he put it back to squad player and said that I'm not close enough to his demands. I don't understand what you want, Jordan. What do you want? We'll improve the training facilities. I'll make you a star player. What's his preferred role and position? Centre-back as a libero. I can't make that promise. I'm looking at this, and I absolutely hate what he's trying to make me negotiate with him here. I'm going to negotiate back, but I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of hoping the scout report comes in and puts me off the idea of signing him, because it just doesn't feel like a good use of money. I've already signed 2 better centre-backs this window. He really wants 80,000. If I give him 70,000, is he going to like that? I literally can't afford what he wants now. He's annoying me here. He's accepted £71,000. There are some loan offers for him as well that he's weighing up. I really feel like he's just not worth it, is he? I mean, he's not a bad wing-back. That's the annoying thing, but it's a lot of money, and I don't need him. I suppose I can look at the other transfer options out there, right? And I can always just walk away and run away if I don't like it. Which, to be honest, I don't like it now. The scout report's going to have to come back and say he's like the second coming of Maicon, except he's English, for me to play him and sign him for right-back. Nathan Hussey I actually had a look at last year when Bournemouth went into administration, and I just decided he wasn't really worth it. Could I sign him and train him to play right wing back? But then again, if I'm going to do that, maybe I'm just better off training Townsend to play right wing back. Townsend in blue is just better, isn't he? And he's 21. I feel like I should just keep Townsend around. We'll see what Ritson's scout report says. I don't really want to sign him. Scout report has come in for Ritson. Inconsistency is a bit of a concern, but my scouts think he's quite good. They think he's already a decent Premier League player. Oh, but the wages are going to make him the second highest earner, and he shouldn't be the second highest earner. I feel like if I get to the point where he accepts the deal, I'm going to not be able to resist the urge to sign him. I'm hitting cancel now. You can let me know if you think that's a mistake or not down in the comments. So I've had my scouts mass scout in the England youth teams. I've added 2 players at the top here to my shortlist. I like the look of these guys a lot. Johnny Bedini, English player who plays for Inter Milan. He actually looks like a decent little centre defensive mid option. Sadly, he doesn't want to join me permanently right now. We'll keep an eye on him for sure, because he looks like he could be great. The other man who's got 5-star potential listed here is Sean Steele, who plays at Aston Villa, striker. Looks like a really good player from a technical and mental point of view, and physically, really, for his age, he's good. Maybe he needs to get a little bit quicker, but he's 17 with fairly ambitious personality. There's a lot to like here. He might be affordable as well. Would it be stupid to sign this guy? £30 million on a 17-year-old striker. I feel like it'd be a statement signing if nothing else. 31 million has been accepted. I mean, he's 17. He probably won't want to talk to me. Anyway, never mind. He doesn't think the move to us is right to kind of do his development. Well, that's annoying. His birthday is in November. I feel like I should set up a note to remind myself of it. I think it was the 5th of November, his birthday, so we'll just have it here. Steele. It's like setting a Moonpig card reminder, isn't it? Steele's birthday. There we go. Confirm. I'll get a reminder that it was his birthday, and hopefully we'll be able to sign him. I mean, he'll probably just turn me down. Part of me feels like I should just save 30 million now in case. A couple of other players in the England youth team setup. One I've actually already looked at before, I think off camera a few years ago. Jamie Pearson here, 18 years old, 9 goals in 6 games at England's under-21s. He's another really good attacking option. He only just turned 18. I feel like I looked into the possibility of signing him maybe last year, and I was told he wouldn't have any interest. I wonder if now, because he's turned 18, if I could sign him. Obviously, that with a caveat, Wolves do have to accept a bid first. I have a feeling this is going to be like the Steele one, but sometimes you just got to throw some money out there and see what a team says. I'll offer Wolverhampton Wanderers here 45 million. Is he 45 million pounds good? I mean, he's got crazy potential. He does look good. I feel like I'm doing this more because he's here and I just want to see if it's an option, rather than because I need him. On the more affordable scale of players with potential in this team, Adam May did jump out at me. He's a player who Dundee snapped up from Man City, if I'm not mistaken, on a free transfer. Played a lot of football last year in the Cinch Premiership. He's not a bad left back, but don't feel like he's good enough for our team. I'm not sure he'd want to be a backup either. Maybe he would. Oh, that could be a tempting signing, you know. I mean, right now at left wing back, Gavin Wallace is my go-to man. Amari Hutchinson is one of our backups, but I just don't really like him as a left back option. To be honest, our second choice left back option is probably Gabadebo here, who, if I just compare with Adam May might be better. It might be worth a punt. I think one of the reasons I'm hesitant to sign him because they signed him for a free transfer last year, and so it feels like I missed out on a deal last year. But at the same time, for the price they're kind of asking for, oh, he's probably worth it. He's got a £13 million release clause. I'm going to try and get it below that. They want a loan back for the whole of this coming year. I can't give them that. I'll offer 11 million here. They've accepted that. I feel like £11 million for kind of a bit more competition at left wing back. We could definitely do a lot worse. Respect the cheek of them to ask for him on a loan back, even though they just tried to negotiate that. And I said, no, Dundee United, got to remember the United, no. Wants to be a fringe player. That makes it easy to negotiate something here. His wage demands actually are really, really reasonable. These wage rises after league games are a bit concerning because, to be honest, I could see him playing some league games for us. So I'm going to up his initial wages and try and extend the term of the contract. He's happy with the extended term. We'll meet him in the middle at £25,000. I know he's lacking technicals, but I do just feel like fullbacks as you go into the future of Football Manager don't really have good technicals. And his physicals are crazy, which is kind of important in our system with the amount of running the wing-backs have to do. Norlin, by the way, is going to be joining Derby County on loan. I'd already demoted him to the under-21s in anticipation. We'll see how he gets on when he comes back next year. And we are now actually at the start of August. The Premier League season is only 10 days away. Shea Salmon has just signed a new contract that kicks in at the end of the current season. The 19-year-old, I do think, could be the future in our goalkeeping position. Certainly as a backup. He's homegrown at club, which is great. On the same day, he's confirmed a loan move to QPR. We'll be keeping a very close eye on his development. He's looking very, very good. Wolves have actually accepted this offer for Jamie Pearson. £45 million for Pearson here. Oh, he's really good. He is really good. His passing's good. His vision's good. His mentals are good. I kind of just want to see what he asks for here. He wants to be a fringe player. He wants a really cheap contract as well for how good he could be. The man is 18. Like, I'd be willing to pay him like £30,000 up front with an optional extension of 3 years. Like something like this, which he's just accepted. It's 45 million. It's a stupid amount of money, but I do really like the look of him. If I sign Pearson, are you guys going to be able to look at me? He probably is better than Shirtlift. Certainly longer term he will be. He's only just turned 18. If it's a choice between Adam May or Pearson, Pearson's just the funner transfer. But May is the sensible one. At this point now, I almost want to try and sell Shirtlift just to generate some funds. Because I feel like if the youngster joins us, I'm not going to be playing Shirtlift at all. Oh, I don't know what. I shouldn't be doing the transfer, but it just feels too good. It's one of those deals where it could end up being the biggest overpay ever, or it looks like a genius move to sign him on an 8-year deal. I mean, to be fair, he still has to accept our offer. So you know what? Let's wait for that to happen if it happens. Elsewhere, Ritson, who we were looking at, has gone on loan to Bournemouth for the year in the Championship. That's an annoying injury that's going to impact our start to the season. Brian Henderson, one of our new centre-backs, out with a pulled calf muscle. Going to be out for 3 weeks. Oh, that is really annoying. He's not even had that many issues of injuries. It's his first injury in almost 2 years. He's had the international break over the summer because of the World Cup playing for Ireland. And he's got injured now in pre-season. I mean, at least he gets a rest. I'm trying to find a positive. I'm trying to work out in my head if there's a way I can do both the Pearson signing and the May signing. I mean, Pearson were paying 28.5 million up front. 11 million for May. If I sell some clauses, if there's any worth anything, maybe I can make it work. Otherwise, I think I have to sell someone. And annoyingly, in terms of first-team players generating transfer interest, there's no one I'm willing to sell. There is also part of me thinking, is it smart to spend all that money on a striker who's 18 when there's only £8 million in the bank? But the board have given me a budget. They've trusted me to spend it. I'm just spending the money they've given me. Okay, last game of pre-season against Nantes. We've played a lot of pre-season games against not-so-good teams. It'd be good to end with a win in this game here. Oh, my word. We've won 6-0. Did we beat Orpington by that many? Okay, we did. We beat them 9-0. Nonce are awful. They're as bad as Hartford. We're playing the USL Championship. The Football League season has started, by the way. I'm getting all these loan updates on players. Salmon played for QPR and they lost 1-0. That's not a good start for them. Elsewhere, Matthew Miller making his debut for Oxford in the Championship. I'm really hoping Matthew has a good loan spell. Adam May signing set to be confirmed. This is just the more sensible transfer. I'm looking at Pearson. I'm looking at his overall ability. To be fair, I've got his attributes here highlighted for a winger. As an advance forward, they are less flashy. As a pressing forward on support, I mean, they're good. They're not amazing, but he's 18. He's 18 with really good determination, potentially Premier League quality. I mean, Wolves gave him a release clause of 73 million, so clearly they think he's good. But he's never played a Premier League match before. It's probably too much of a risk, isn't it? Oh, I think I have to do the reasonable thing. I'm going to sign Adam May. I'm going to sign the left back. I know there's some people now booing and disliking the video saying, you're boring. You're playing the game boring. Yeah, I am. I'm also being sensible for the future of this football club. Okay, Adam May officially joins the club. £11 million for a useful backup left back. I don't think you can really go wrong. Bit of potential, decent ability. Love the physicals. Gavin Wallace, you know what? He might have had a little bit of competition in the left back area this year. I still think Wallace is the better player, but May offers us something too. Granted, we do, of course, have to actually train him to play left wing back. Yeah, right now he can't play the position I'm going to be playing him in. Might not come as a surprise, having just signed a new left back, Gabadibo, who will be our third choice left back, and already can play a load of positions. I'm actually going to train to play right wing back. I feel like every football team needs that one man who can play absolutely everywhere. Nahum is going to be that bloke. He can play left back, right back for us in our system, defensive kind of centre back as well, if needed. Then that's just a useful kind of player to have. As a reminder, we signed him for 2.6 million. He played a lot of football for us really last year, and he could be a right back. The squad is now 27 players. It feels on the large side. I suppose the other thing I can do is if players start getting a bit unhappy between now and the end of the month, I can move on some more players later. Maybe this is just the squad for the season. I'm looking at this starting 11. I'm looking at the bench. I think this is a better team than last year. It's a younger team than last year too. I'm quite excited for the new season to get started. Now, I will say we do still have £25 million in transfer budget, but given the fact we're already over the wage budget, any new signing that I make is going to make us spend even more over the wage budget, which I'd kind of like to avoid doing. The last few years, I've become accustomed to making money through the season. Our wage spend this year is almost double what it was a year ago. In fact, it might be over double what it was a year ago at this point, which means we're not going to have that same constant income through kind of the season as we go on. A lot more of our money now is not going to be generated through the TV money. It's going to come through flipping players. To make that happen, I need to play young players, develop them, and those that don't quite make the cut, look to move on. Appreciate that today's transfer special was a slightly different vibe. I hope you enjoyed it for what it was, though I feel suitably prepared for the start of the new season. Tomorrow, Swansea and Manchester United to end the week. Hope you're ready for those. I'll see you next time. I'm out.